Well, hey there, guys. John Campea here. Welcome to my John Campea podcast. As some of you may noticed, doing this a little bit differently right now. I had a bunch of people write to me and ask me to try doing the podcast live. So I thought I would do it, and so here we are doing it live. Please, guys, let me know if you're watching, if everything's working fine for you. This is the first day I'm doing this this way from here, so just let me know if the audio's working and if the video's working, and I'll do my best to keep things going here. So everybody seems to say everything's working right now, so why not? Yes, everybody's always asked me about these glasses. So in case you haven't heard me talk about these glasses before, these glasses are a special kind of glasses. They're called Gunners, and you can buy them online. And basically what they're really made for is for people who play a lot of video games. What it's specifically designed to do is to filter out a certain type of light that comes off of television monitors, certain types of lights that reduce eye strain. And what's happened is I've got some pretty giant monitors here, like a 34-inch monitor and two 27-inch monitors. So that's a lot of light. And when I'm sitting here at the computer for too long, I start to get headaches. So somebody recommended these to me, and I found that they actually work. Yes, they look a little bit ridiculous, and yes, they make me look like I'm going in for a Bono impersonation competition, but it lets me do this, so I'm going to do these. Someone's asked me how much the glasses are. The glasses are generally, I think you can get them for about 70 or 80 bucks, but I find them on Woot, WOOT.com. I find them on sale on Woot every once in a while. For like 40 or 50 bucks, so check them out there. All right, guys, so this is my John Campea podcast, and I just found out a new It trailer dropped. So I did not have a chance to watch the It trailer yet. Apparently it just dropped. I'll watch it and put up a review on my channel a little bit later. But generally what I like to do on the John Campea podcast is just take the questions and comments and opinions that you guys send in to me. How do you get a question to me? It's simple. Email me anytime at the John Campea podcast @gmail.com. I got a bunch of questions that have come in today. You can see them in the description. We're going to start going through them one by one. So, and hey guys, like, share your opinions. If you're watching this live, share your opinions and thoughts with everybody else in the channel. And wow, I wanted to get 100 people watching this, and apparently we're up to 570 people without me letting everybody know we're doing this. But anyway, jump in, share your thoughts and opinions with everybody else in the chat. And guys, do me a favor. Let's prove to the world that not all YouTubers, not all internet comment section people are mindless fucking idiots. Let's prove to the world that we can have intelligent conversation and debate and discuss without becoming stupid and without, resulting or degrading to insulting each other. Let's have a good, vibrant discussion and debate about topics. That's the most fun thing about being a film fan. So yeah, I encourage you guys, keep it good in the chat board. And if somebody starts being a troll, just ignore them. Don't feed them. So anyway, with that out of the way, let's get to the first question. And the first question today comes to us from Robert Coleman, who writes, I was curious, whatever happened to that supposed script Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Schumer were collaborating on and were going to star in together? Seems like that never really ended up materializing. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I mean, this is getting a little bit into tabloid stuff and a little bit into gossipy stuff. So forgive me for just a second. I'm just going to touch on it for a second because it, sheds some light on the overall issue here about the movie. It was about a year and a half ago or whatever, Amy Schumer and Jennifer Lawrence started being photographed together all over the place. They were jet skiing together. They were shopping together. They were like new BFFs. Some people started calling them as a power couple J-Shoe. I'm not making that up. They called them J-Shoe. So anyway, so J-Shoe, they eventually made a comment. So, Amy Schumer put out this, was being interviewed, and she made this comment that her and Jennifer Lawrence were working on a script together, and it was going to be a comedy with the two of them being sisters. Now, first things first, when you ask whatever happened to that script, about 10,000 scripts out of 10,001 that get written never get developed into anything. Okay, so keep that in mind. Just because somebody's writing a script, I mean, like I said, 10,000 out of 10,001 never get turned into anything. Just because somebody's writing a script does not mean an actual movie is going to get made. But still, I mean, J-Shoe was all over the media for a while. Then they were on the Golden Globes together. They were at a Billy Joel. They got up on stage and danced on a piano or something at a Billy Joel concert. And then for like a year, you haven't seen them talk about each other or be photographed together or heard anything about this script whatsoever. Now, and most likely, that's probably because of scheduling. Jennifer Lawrence is like 5 movies in development. Amy Schumer, has her TV properties. She's got her specials. She's got all of the other projects she's working on. They're both really busy. That's probably the case. But again, I never really expected that movie to get made, but who knows? It still might. But I wouldn't read anything into it about the fact that we haven't heard anything about it up to this point. Like I said, most scripts never get made anyway. And on top of that, they've just been really busy. So, and sometimes it takes a year or two to write a script. I mean, Joss Whedon can write a script in 2 weeks. I mean, Joss Whedon, I'm forgetting the name of his writing partner who did it, but Cabin in the Woods, like Joss Whedon and that dude wrote that script in a weekend. So, I mean, you can do them really fast, but sometimes scripts take years. So don't worry about that. You haven't heard anything about it so far. I'm sure we have not heard the last of Jay Shu. I'm sure they will once again be a power couple. There's too much marketing potential there, I think. All right, let's move on to the next question. I know, how can we stop talking about Jay Shu, guys? All right, let's move on to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from Joseph Powell, who writes, if Lawrence Fishbourne and Josh Brolin can play characters from separate universes, why can't we have Idris Elba for Green Lantern? It's not fair. It's not like he's doing much in the Thor movies anyway. Well, thanks a lot for the question, Joel. So a lot of people have asked about, Idris Elba as Green Lantern. So can we get Idris Elba as Green Lantern? That's assuming that we use one particular Green Lantern over another particular Green Lantern. Do we get a Stewart Lantern over, say, a Guy Gardner Lantern or Kyle Rayner Lantern or the more traditional Green Lantern, Hal Jordan? And if so, can we get Idris Elba? So that's fine. However, the tone of your question seems to be acting like Idris Elba would have the Green Lantern role, but the one thing that's holding him up is the fact that he's in the MCU. And that's simply not the case. Lots of actors, I made a list over here, lots of actors have been in multiple different comic book type universes. Obviously, Ryan Reynolds, who's Deadpool and, Deadpool twice, if you want to put it that way. And of course, he was Green Lantern. Let's see, Rebecca Romaine Stamos. She was in X-Men, of course, and she was in Punisher. Brandon Routh has been in the DC cinematic worlds as Superman. He's now playing Adam in the CW DC comic book show. Samuel Jackson's been in multiple things. Let's see. Will Smith has done multiple. If you want to count, what's the name of that movie? Again, Hancock. If you want to count Hancock as one, you've got that. You've got Halle Berry. She was Storm and she was Catwoman. You've got Ben Affleck, of course, Batman and Daredevil. Rosario Dawson has been in a couple. Michael Fassbender's been in a couple. Josh Brolin, as you mentioned, he's going to be in both. I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan has been in a couple as well. So the thing that is holding up right now Idris Elba from being Green Lantern isn't because he's in Thor. It's because nobody has cast him as Green Lantern. Like, it's not a foregone conclusion. Even if they go with a Stewart Green Lantern, which I have a feeling they might do multiple Green Lanterns. So like you'll have Stewart and Hal Jordan and maybe Kyle Rayner or Guy Gardner. I'd love to see a Guy Gardner live action. That could be really fun. The dude's not an actor, but Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor as Guy Gardner. He can be that annoying little pissant. So anyway, and don't get me wrong, I love McGregor. So the thing that's holding it up is not the fact that he is in Thor. Him playing Heimdall in Thor is not what the holdup is. Every actor plays in different movies for different studios. That's fine. I think, though, like I said, the main thing that's holding them up is the fact that he just hasn't been cast. Maybe he's not right for the role. Maybe they're writing a Green Lantern, or maybe they're not. But maybe if they are writing a Green Lantern, maybe their Green Lantern's like 24 or 25 years old. That kind of counts out Idris Elba if they don't want to go that way. And like I said, I've always said this before, never shape the character to fit the actor. That is backwards thinking. Always pick the actor. First, you shape your character. Then you pick your actor that best suits the character. And if for their purposes, if DC has written up a Green Lantern character, a Stewart Green Lantern character, and he's like 24, 25 years old, or has a certain way, whatever, and Idris Elba doesn't fit that, then you don't shoehorn and force Idris Elba into it and change the integrity of your story just to fit the actor that you want to get in. That's when mistakes get made, and we've seen Hollywood do that sometimes. So look, would Idris Elba as Green Lantern be pretty cool? You're damn right. Idris Elba is an amazing actor. He would be fantastic to see in the DC Cinematic Universe. He would be fantastic to see as a Green Lantern. That would be great if that's the direction they were going. But like I said, I think you're making an assumption here that the only reason they're not getting him is because he's Heimdall, and I just don't think that's the case. All right, let's move on to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from Jason Winstone-Twiner, who writes, do you think Marvel will play it safe in regards to stakes in Avengers Infinity War? As much as I am looking forward to it, I'm sure everybody's going to survive with a few cuts and bruises. Surely, at least one key member of the Avengers must die at his hands. Otherwise, how can we get invested in these team-ups with zero stakes time after time? Well, thanks a lot for the question, Jason. Here's the thing to me about the stakes. It doesn't, to me, as an individual audience member, may be different for you, and that's totally cool. But for me as an audience member, the stakes don't get raised or lowered if you kill characters. I mean, sure, it can raise or lower stakes. Here's the thing that has lowered the stakes for me as an audience member in MCU movies. And you know I love MCU movies. But here's one of the things that's always bugged me about them. The stakes get lowered when time after time after time after time you kill a character only to have them come back to life 5 minutes later, an hour later, a movie later, or a television show later. Like, the number of times, in just like the number of films the MCU has done, they fake kill a character only to bring them back shortly thereafter is just amazing. They've done it multiple times with Loki. Of course, Thor dies in the first Thor movie. And then, no, wait, I'm back to life. Samuel Jackson dies in, which one was it? Was it Winter Soldier? Yeah. So Samuel Jackson's character dies in Winter Soldier. Oh, no, wait, at the end of the movie, he's alive again. We've got Coulson. Agent Coulson dies in the first Avengers. Oh, no, wait, I'm back again for this TV show. This person dies right back. This person dies right back. Tony dies in space saving the world Avengers. Oh, no, wait, then his eyes open. He's alive. He's fine. That's the thing to me that lowers the stakes. Because now when I watch an MCU movie, and I still love watching MCU movies, I adore the MCU movies, but when I watch one, if a character dies on screen, I don't have any emotional impact because I don't believe they're dead anymore. Like, I'm about to give a little spoiler for Age of Ultron, but if you haven't seen Age of Ultron by now, you have no plans on seeing it, so get ready, okay? Here comes the big spoiler for Age of Ultron. So when Quicksilver died, for instance, in Age of Ultron, it had no impact on me. Not because it wasn't a good death scene, but because in the back of my head, I went, oh yeah, they killed him, but he's not really dead. Because this is Marvel's pattern. They kill somebody, they bring them back. They kill them, they bring them back. No stakes. Nothing on the line here. So the death of Quicksilver in Age of Ultron had no impact on me. Had I even thought for a second that it was possible that he was really dead when they were going to kill him, it would have had a much more powerful impact on me. So now, if we go to into Avengers Infinity War and Tony Stark dies, I'm not going to have, I'm going to love the rest of the movie, but I'm not going to have any emotional reaction to Tony Stark dying because I'm not going to believe for a second that he's actually dead. And, so I don't believe you need to kill off key characters in order to raise stakes. You can raise stakes other ways. So, for instance, we go into James Bond movie. Well, if they don't kill James Bond, they're not raising the stakes. Well, of course, they're never going to kill James Bond, but the stakes are always raised. We go into an Indiana Jones movie. We don't believe for a second they're going to kill Indiana Jones, but that doesn't mean that there's no stakes, even though we don't believe for a second they're going to kill Indiana Jones. So you can get away with not killing major characters. What I just want Marvel to stop doing is time after time after time pretending to kill characters and then bringing them back immediately. So as we go into Avengers Infinity War, if you're going to have Thanos throw down with somebody major and kill somebody major, that's fine if you want to do that. The only thing I'm asking is in Infinity War, if Thanos ends up killing somebody, make him dead. Make him dead. Because if you keep pulling this crap, then there's never going to be any emotional stakes for this stuff. So, anyway, what do you guys think in the comments section? Have the discussion. What do you think about them, like constantly trying to pull fast ones on us? Like, we killed somebody, we didn't kill somebody, blah, blah, blah. Do they ultimately need to kill somebody in Avengers Infinity War? I mean, we say that in every Marvel movie. Who are they going to kill in Winter Soldier? Who are they going to kill in Civil War? Who are they going to kill in Age of Ultron? So, do they have to? Like, maybe they do. I don't know at this point to really, drive it home that there's something at stake here. Let me know your thoughts. All right, let's move on to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from Bobby J, who writes, with all these live adaptations of Disney films, do you think that they will tackle a live Disney version of Hercules? I know both 2014 versions weren't close at all to the source material and were mostly disappointing. Do you think that the studio is shying away from this because of the previous films? What are your thoughts on this? And would you like to see a true adaptation of the original film, music, and all? Well, okay, first of all, let's not call that Disney animated film the original Hercules films. There are guys named Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger who would, wanted to dispute that with you. There's a guy named Kevin Sorbo who's had a long-running television presence. A lot of people forget that Kevin Sorbo Hercules film was the #1 rated show in the world for years. Like a hell of a lot of people watch that show. But the question is, would I want to see, with all these live action adaptations of their animated materials, would I be interested in seeing a live action adaptation of their Hercules one? And I'm going to say 100% definitively no chance in hell. I don't want that at all. Like, don't get me wrong. I did not hate that Disney animated film. I didn't hate it at all. I mean, it was fine. It was cute. It was nice. But that's not the Hercules I want to see. Like, if The Rock couldn't get it right. I mean, look, if I want to go to a theater and watch a Hercules movie, I want a freaking Hercules movie, okay? I don't want a Disney version of one, to be honest. And Disney can do great things. They do great movies. But that animated version, I don't want to see a live adaptation of that. So if Disney wants to do a Hercules movie, that's great. Then just do a Hercules movie. And let's not play around with the animated stuff that you guys did before. So that's just my opinion. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you be up for a live action version of the animated Disney Hercules? Would you even be up for any new incarnations of Hercules? Because we've had a lot of them in the last few years. Maybe we need to wait a while. I'm not sure. All right, let's move on to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from Desmond. And Desmond writes, my question is about trailers showing scenes that are not in movies. Movies like Spider-Man Homecoming and Baywatch have shown scenes and trailers that aren't in the film. Why do studios include these shots in their marketing material? Would you consider that false advertising? Well, look, if you guys have watched me for any period of time, I've kind of touched on this question before. And the issue of studios misleading audiences about the movie they're going to get is a very sensitive one to me. As a matter of fact, there's a movie in theaters right now that I adore, that I really like, called War for the Planet of the Apes. It's a great movie. It's not I don't think it's the best of the franchise. I think Dawn, the last one, was better than this one, but it's a very, very, very good movie. I enjoyed it very much. If you saw my review, I recommend you see it. But the marketing campaign for War for the Planet of the Apes is not the worst, most misleading marketing campaign I've ever seen, but it's up there. Because everything from all the billboards and posters for War of the Planet of the Apes, you see Caesar at the head of this giant army of apes with a human army on the other side. Blah, blah. That's not in the movie. All the trailers were like action, war, and they cut them in such a way it looks like there's this army of apes and an army of humans going to battle over the fate of the planet. That's not in the movie. That's not what the movie's about at all. The marketing campaign for War for the Planet of the Apes was absolutely deceitful. It made us think War for the Planet of the Apes was one movie when it's really a completely different movie. And it's a shame that they marketed it that way, because the movie that it actually is a damn good movie and totally worth seeing and a worthy successor to Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And it makes Planet of the Apes a great, just completes a wonderful trilogy. But it was brutally misleading, that marketing campaign. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But now you're talking about movies like Spider-Man. What about things like that where you see these Spider-Man trailers, and for instance, you get this scene, right, in the Spider-Man trailer that we see Spidey swinging and Iron Man flying beside him in the trailer like they're about to go off to save the day somewhere. Yeah, that ain't in the movie. There's a scene in Baywatch where they're like both riding on a scooter together. Not in the movie. There's lots of movies that we can name. Like, for instance, Star Wars Rogue One. That had a bunch of scenes that were in the trailer, not in the movie. But I'm more forgiving of that for one main reason. And that reason is this. Quite often, these trailers are cut and put together long before they actually hit online. And they're certainly cut and put together long before the movie comes out. And quite often, edits are being made to a movie like right up till weeks before the movie comes out. I mean, there are some stories of some filmmakers like editing a film right up till 2 days before release. I don't know how that's possible, but there are stories about that. So it is completely feasible that, certain things were shot and were in a movie, were going to be in a movie, either was planned to be in a movie, or it did make the first cut of a movie or something like that, and it was going to be in there. And the studio hands over all this footage to the company that puts together the trailers for them, or to the individuals who are cutting together this trailer for them. And they see that shot and oh, that shot's great. And they put it in. And then it ends up that scene either never gets used in the first place or gets cut out later on in a future edit. And so there's really nothing you can do about that. So things like shots that are in trailers that don't end up in a movie, I don't consider that false advertising, because for the most part, I think that was probably intended to be in the movie at some point and then ultimately got cut out. That's fine. I have no problem with that, really. What I get more upset at is when the entire marketing campaign seems to mislead you about what a movie is. The example of this that I go back to every time is that it was another Disney film actually called Bridge to Terabithia. You guys remember that one? It came out 7 or 8 years ago. Maybe longer, I don't know. But Bridge to Terabithia was a really great little movie. The problem was the marketing campaign, the trailer suggested that it was this fantasy adventure movie about these children who find a magic kingdom and the adventures they go on. And it is not about that at all. It's about little kids dying and tragedy and pain and heartache. And there's very little fantasy element to it whatsoever. And as a movie, it's actually very, very good. If you haven't seen Bridge to Terabithia, I recommend you check it out. It's a very, very good movie. But if you saw the trailers and saw the movie, it was a misleading ad campaign, man. All right, let's move on to the final question from the email, and then I'm going to go to the chat board and see if I can pick out some questions from you guys in the chat. Bear with me as I try to go through that. So here we go. The final email question of the day comes to me from Ray Wright. And Ray Wright writes this. Ray Wright writes this. Say that 10 times fast. With Justice League and Thor Ragnarok being released only a few weeks apart, do you feel this could hurt each film's overall box office? Or no? Pros, cons. Also, with all the reported extensive Justice League reshoots this close to its release, should Warner Brothers push back the release date? Well, there are two parts to that question. Number one, do I think that, why Spider-Man there? Do I think that Thor, because right now Thor is scheduled for release on November 3rd. Justice League is scheduled for release just 2 weeks later on November 17th. It's kind of close, a little close for comfort. But at the same time, they're not 1 week apart. Usually, a movie has made, especially big blockbusters, usually they've made the bulk of their money in the first 2 weeks. Usually in the first 2 weeks, they've made the vast bulk of their money. Spider-Man Homecoming is a great example. In the first 2 weeks, it made like $550 million. It's not going to make double that. It's not going to make $1 billion. So it made the lion's share of its money there. As great as of the legs and ongoing thing that Wonder Woman's had, it made the bulk of its money in its first 2 weeks. Most of these big blockbusters make most of their money in the first 2 weeks. People who really want to see Thor Ragnarok, most of them will see them with the first week, let alone the first 2 weeks. Would there be some effect on Thor Ragnarok and Justice League? Yes, there will be some effect, but I actually believe that 2 weeks separated is a pretty good one. I would have preferred to have seen 3 weeks in between them, but 2 weeks means it's not a doomsday scenario for either film. So I think they're okay that way. The other part of your question is another topic entirely, which is about the extensive reshoots. There are more and more reports coming out now how much reshooting they're doing. But again, I mentioned this on my show the other day. Reshooting is not necessarily a bad thing. Reshooting, like in the case of World War Z, could be the best thing in the world to do. And, I was talking about this the other day, but I'll bring it up again here. It's worth repeating. There are some people who, when you suggest them, look, dude, there's a lot of reports that these reshoots are a lot more extensive than their PR is letting on. I mean, a lot of reputable, 100% solid news journalists are reporting that this thing is actually pretty extensive. And they get upset. They get angry, as if to say that reshooting means the movie is bad. I don't look at it that way at all. Like, look, if they're reshooting the movie, to me, it makes me admire Warner Brothers all the more. Because if they're reshooting, right, and they realize, you know what? We could make this even better if we did this, this, and this. And then they go, you know what? And if we did that, we could improve it even more if we did this, this, and this. To me, what that says to me is that Warner Brothers is committed to giving the best movie possible to its fans. To me, it's telling me that Warner Brothers isn't just going to go, no, look, we've already shot it. Let's just just finish it and put it out. Why would you want Warner Brothers' attitude to be that? I would rather have Warner Brothers go, yeah, you know what? You're coming up with some good ideas. Here's the money, and they write the check. There's some reports that these reshoots are costing upward more of $25 million to do, which is bigger than a lot of movies' budgets. And I would rather hear that Warner Brothers is going, yes, put in the energy. Yes, I'll cut the check. Here you go. Go and make the best movie possible. And if you've found ways to improve it even more, go do it. I for the life of me, I do not know why some people get upset at that notion. To me, it shows that Warner Brothers is committed to the film. It shows that Warner Brothers is committed to its fans. And I think if this is the case, then this is great news. And this shows how committed Warner Brothers is to its fans and this project. I think it's good news. Sorry, so you can get upset about it. You can go, yeah, don't say they're doing reshoots. You can cry yourself to sleep all you want. I think it's a good thing. And I admire Warner Brothers for it. And I think you should too. But at any rate, let's put that aside for a second. Fact of the matter is, we're just about in August. So September, October, November. We're about 3.5 months away from when this movie's supposed to come out. And apparently they're still working really hard on it. Could they actually change the release date? Here's my thoughts on this, okay? If, and this is a big if, okay? Huge if. But if Warner Brothers, if I'm right, and Warner Brothers is exhibiting a lot of commitment to this movie, to making it the best it can be, then the release date should not be a deal breaker. If Warner Brothers is really committed, as I think they are, to putting out the best product possible, then the release date should not be a do or die thing. You should not govern yourself. I don't want Warner Brothers to go, oh my God, we have come up with this plan that will make this a 15, 20% better movie than it already is, but we've got the release date, and that can't be moved, so we can't do the things we wanted to do to make the movie better. I say bump it. I seriously, if I was sitting in a war room with Warner Brothers and they came to me and asked my advice, which happens all the time. No, it doesn't. And they asked my advice, I'd say, look, if that's the case, look, if you can get it done in time and you feel comfortable with getting it done in time, absolutely do November 17th. But if you've got great ideas and you've got to work around some things and it doesn't look like you might be able to hit that date, then push the date. Push it. Push it into December. Push it into January. Hell, you push it into January. I've been saying this for a long time. January is like the movie burial ground. They send movies there to die that they don't think can do any good. Because of that, I've said for a long time, I think there's an opportunity for a big budget blockbuster to drop in January and make a killing because there's going to be no competition for it or whatever. Or just push it like 3 or 4 weeks. Make it a Christmas release movie. Yeah, you'll face some big competition from some other Christmas release movies, but you'll be further away from Thor Ragnarok. And you'll have a corner on the market on the comic book movie fans, so why not? So I say keep it in November 17th if you can. Absolutely. But if you have to, move it. It's okay. They moved G.I. Joe like 2 months before G.I. Joe came out, the one with The Rock. They moved it like 7 months. Don't move Justice League 7 months. If you move it, if you do move it off that November 17th date, don't move it to like July 2018 or something like that. Make it a small move. Make it just that little extra bump that you need to breathe and finish your movie the way you want to. So anyway, that's just the way I kind of look at it. I really want to know, what do you guys think about it? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. All right, I'm going to try to do something now, which is not easy. Because the chat stream goes like this. So I'm going to try to look at the chat stream now, and I'm going to try to pick out a couple of questions and address the question you guys have in there. So if you have questions, go ahead and put them in there right now. So I'm just looking at the stream. Let's see. You're going to hear me pause a lot because I'm trying to read and do the show at the same time. Some people saying move it to January. Yeah, that's what I say. Move it to January. I think it would make a killing in January. Prince is writing, John, will we see Lando in episode 9 maybe? Also, can you play Battlefront 2 with me? Will we see Lando in episode 9? I don't think so. I would love to. I hope they do. I mean, we've seen that they have a tendency to want to bring characters back, that they like doing that. I would love it if they did. There have been photographs of Billy D. Williams with some other people in the movie. So maybe, I bet if I had to put money on it, I would say no. Martin Svab writes, Flashpoint, what do you think about that? Yeah, one of the things that they put up at the Warner Brothers DC presentation at Comic-Con, they put up a list of their release slate coming, and one was Flashpoint. And that's intriguing. There's a lot you could do there. They've done a Flashpoint animated movie. Maybe they could do that here. Is that what they use to move Ben Affleck out of being Batman and somebody else in? Is that how they're going to explain it? I don't know, maybe. We'll see how that goes. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Let's see. Who's asking this? Ujax writes, thoughts on a Green Lantern Corps movie? I would love it. And look, I'm one of the people who say, don't get me wrong, the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie was a poor movie. I'm not going to argue that with anybody. It was a poor movie. But I didn't think it was like burn it with fire kind of bad. I thought there were some redeeming qualities in it. Don't get me wrong. I still give it a thumbs down. Overall did not like the film. But I did think it had some redeeming qualities to it that could work. And those qualities that worked, you transfer those into a Green Lantern Corps movie. Like I thought all the stuff in OA on the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie, the OA stuff I thought was great. So you give me a Green Lantern Corps movie, make at least half of it happen in OA or something else like that, and try to minimize how much stuff happens on Earth. And I am completely down for it. Julie Mustaf writes, do you like Marvel or DC? I like both. I know there are a bunch of Marvel fanboys who say I hate Marvel. I know there's a bunch of DC fanboys who say I hate DC. Let me check. When was the last time I gave a fuck what anybody thinks about my opinion? Oh, never. Never gave a fuck what anybody thinks about my opinion. So I like them both. I mean, they both have strengths and weaknesses. I criticize Marvel all the time for their piece of shit Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show that they put out. I know people get mad at me when I call it that, but I love the movies. I think Avengers is the greatest comic book movie of all time. I love a lot of stuff about the DC stuff and what they're doing. I think I'm the only film critic on the planet who gave positive reviews to all the DC movies. And I understand that there are things about them that weren't good. And I understand why people didn't like them. That's cool. But I'm sorry. I just love comic book movies. And I don't care what corporate label is on a movie. I don't care if it says Marvel when the movie starts. I don't care if it says DC. Guess what, guys? Wrap your heads around this, okay? When a movie first starts and the corporate label comes up, that corporate label ain't going to make the movie good or bad. It ain't. The movie is going to make the movie good or bad. And just because it says Marvel on it does not guarantee it's going to be good. Just because it says DC on it does not guarantee it's going to be good. Just because it says Marvel doesn't mean it's going to be bad if you have a bias against it. Just because it says DC doesn't mean it's going to be bad. That's just a corporate label, man. Once the movie gets rolling, then you judge a movie on its merits and see where things go from there. All right, I'll take one or two more here if I can. Oh, Lee Brockway is asking, how about the Emoji Movie? Yeah, I saw the Emoji Movie yesterday. There is an embargo until 12 noon Pacific Standard Time today. That's 3 p.m. on the East Coast, I believe. So that's about 2 hours and 15 minutes from now. So I cannot discuss the Emoji Movie at this moment. I am, however, putting up my Emoji Movie review. It will be up on my YouTube channel in about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So make sure you come back to my YouTube channel and check out my review at the time. All right. Last question I'll pick out. Oh, this is a cool one. Who do you think will win? Godzilla versus King Kong? I think they're going to do the bullshit. It's a tie. I think they're going to do that. That they both win. I think that's how they're going to do it. Or they're fighting and fighting and fighting, and then they realize at the last second, oh my goodness, King Ghidorah's here. We have to team up. And then they go off and that's how. One of the things I love. Look, crap on Batman versus Superman all you want. One of the things I was super impressed about Batman vs. Superman is they had the balls to have a definitive winner in that fight. And again, spoiler, okay? But if you haven't seen Batman vs. Superman by now, you have no intention of watching it. Spoiler. Batman won that fight. And going into Batman vs. Superman, I thought, no way they're going to have a winner. They're going to make it a bullshit tie. And they didn't. They had a definitive winner. That fight ends with Batman on top of Superman, boot at his neck, spear in his face, getting ready to kill him. The only reason Superman's still alive is because, you know, Bruce let him live. There was a definitive winner. I was so impressed. I would have been equally impressed if they had Superman win the fight. If Superman had won the fight, I would have been equally as impressed. I just couldn't believe they had the guts to have a definitive winner. So, and you know they better make reference to Batman beating him in some future DC movie. They've got to. There could be a really great fun conversation there between Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck. Hopefully in Justice League. I would love to see that conversation in the Justice League. But all right, guys, that'll do it for me. I actually went a little longer than I anticipated. Thank you so much for writing. Listen, this was the first time me trying it live. I don't need to do this show live. I can do it pre-recorded. Obviously, it's much cleaner when I do it pre-recorded and edit it. Obviously, there's some advantages here to doing it live. Let me know what you think about doing this live. And if you're watching this after the fact, let me know, did the fact that this was recorded live, did that affect the enjoyment for you? Do you think it made the show better or worse? Let me know, guys. I'm learning, and I want you guys to tell me how I need to adjust this thing. So let me know. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. That's the only way I'm going to make this thing better. So, hey, guys, do me a favor. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. It actually helps me a lot. So if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, if you like this show, do me a favor. Share it on your Facebook, on your Twitter. Click the like button. Leave comments. Do all that kind of stuff. All that type of stuff really helps support the show. So that'll do it for me, guys. Lots more videos coming up later today. My name's John Campea, guys, and thanks for joining me. Until next time, bye-bye.